do it. Push it in. No, you want to force the invisible.
So, friends, these are the kinds of dreams you might not have if you're confused about the types and kinds of soldering iron tips. After all, tips differ in shape, and according to our sales statistics, the three most popular types of tips are the cone, the cut cone, and the knife. Give us a like. Well, and see you next time. Just kidding. It's not that simple. In one of our previous videos, we already showed you how to restore a soldering iron tip. But if you can't restore it, you really need to buy a new one. And here, not particularly experienced users often encounter one problem, namely, the compatibility of soldering tips with different soldering irons and soldering stations. So, we will tell you about this compatibility. Let's start with the simplest ones. These are the old, reliable metal sticks. They can be copper or steel with a special coating and are used in soldering irons with screw clamps. These tips vary in length and diameter, and all of them, in principle, are compatible with each other, except for very high thermal capacity tips with a diameter greater than 8 millimeters. Although such tips are used in soldering irons with a power of 300 watts and above. And if you don't plan to solder metal buckets, you probably won't need them. The second type of tip. These are 900M type tips. They resemble a sleeve and are used in most soldering irons and soldering stations with temperature control. They are also available in copper and are fully compatible with each other, except for the manufacturer's GUD and Pro S kit. There are nuances with them, as the tips are not standardized and often are specific to a particular soldering iron and their specific type. Tips. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do about it. By the way, don't try to insert a 900M tip into a GUD soldering iron.
Push it in.
In the best case, nothing will happen, and in the worst case, the heating element will be ruined. The third type of tip is T12, and its subtypes. Many people know the HAKKO brand and the trend they set in the soldering tip segment. A very large part of the soldering equipment market uses their type of tips. Simplicity, ease of replacement, fast heating, and precise temperature control make them one of the undeniable favorites. You can often find T12 tips of various lengths in different soldering irons. For example, the so-called shortened T12 tips. And I'll tell you that, aside from the length itself, there's no actual difference between them. But, well, because there's always a but, I want to specifically highlight the company AOE, which seems to manufacture their own T12 tips. They are generally of good quality, similar in construction, and most importantly, cheaper. So it would seem they should work. But no, because their contact group is offset compared to the standard HAKKO T12. And if the manufacturer of your soldering iron or soldering station didn't account for the use of these tips, then unfortunately, saving money, you won't succeed. And finally, but not quite, the company Goot with their supposedly universal cartridge tips, which are supposedly compatible with all soldering stations and, it would seem, no hidden pitfalls. It would seem, but there are little stones like that, because in the photo, you might get confused and buy a tip like this. It's much larger than the standard and designed for powerful soldering irons. So, always, carefully read the compatibility in the description, and you definitely won't make a mistake. And of course, I praise these tips and encourage using them specifically, because these are very cool tips that regulate their temperature extremely accurately and very quickly, and the simplicity of replacing them. That's also a very significant plus. And indeed, finally, I'll show you this small tip. It is used in Quick Company's induction soldering stations. This is also one of the 900M subtypes, but the tip is very, very compact, and, undoubtedly, it's worth mentioning separately. This is how our quick introduction to the tips turned out. I really hope that this will help many of you when choosing your soldering irons. And remember, you can always write or even call us, if you're not an introvert, to our tech support, and we are always happy to help you. Give us a like and see you next time.